Before we get into the story, if you do me a favor and just hit that like button, it really, really does help a lot in the algorithm. And the algorithm is technically a robot that controls part of my life. So I want to get some of the control back. Let's talk about Forza. It's the game that literally opened up the world of digital racing. The first console racer that let you yell at other people online. And the only racing game to knock the mighty Gran Turismo from its golden throne. This is everything you need to know to get up to speed on Forza.
Are you tired of seeing so many junk cars? Then buy this shirt and wear it every day so junk car owners know we buy junk cars. Hi, I'm Junk Car Jimmy. I want you to give me a call. Look at this car. Junk! Ooh. Now that's junk. Yeah, best I can do is 50 bucks. So get it at donutmedia.com today. I'm Junk Car Jimmy and we'll pay you a lot of money for that junk car. Depending on the year though. Nothing too new, nothing too old. It's gotta be just right.
The Sony PlayStation turned the video game world upside down when it came out in 1994. The graphics were next level. You could play freaking CDs with it. And most importantly, it boasted a huge number of popular games. The most popular game was a little piece of gaming history that I like to call Gran Turismo. Now, Gran Turismo was the revolutionary brainchild of Japanese programmer and car enthusiast Kazunori Yamauchi. Before the OG Gran Turismo game came out in 1997, racing games were either boring sims that took themselves way too seriously or cartoony Mario Kart type chaos. Gran Turismo's advanced physics engine, cutting-edge graphics, and a huge selection of real-life cars changed everything. It was a smash hit with gamers and car nerds alike. A lot of people in our generation got into cars because of Gran Turismo. Kaz Yamauchi was a car nut and it showed. The first game in the series featured a ridiculous 178 playable vehicles, everything from Dodge Vipers to Mazda Demios, and all those cars handled like their real-life counterparts. Kaz and his team spent years gathering data to make the game as realistic as possible. Then they spent years dialing it back a little bit to make sure that the game was still fun to play. Now, we did an episode on Gran Turismo, and it might sound like we're doing another one, but we're not. I'm going to talk about Forza soon, and if you want to know more about that, I'm going to put the link to that video in the description. Anyway, the first Gran Turismo was the best-selling game on the PS1, which helped Sony move a record-breaking 100 million consoles, which helped them develop something that would turn the console gaming world upside down even harder. To top the first PlayStation, Sony had a little trick up its sleeve. The sequel would be a media system that could play DVDs. The company even envisioned it as competition for the personal computer, which spooked little Bill Gates down Microsoft way. He worried that a system like the PS2 could eventually put Microsoft out of business. Gates first tried to partner with Sony to develop the PS2 software platform, but Sony was like, no, we got this. Thanks, nerd. We'll take it from here. Then he attempted to buy Nintendo, and Mario was like, get out of here, you freaking nerd. Go back to Jeffrey Epstein's island. According to a Microsoft employee who was there, they quote, they just laughed their asses off. Like, imagine an hour of somebody just laughing at you. That was kind of how that meeting went. So with the raucous laughter of Japanese businessmen ringing in their ears, Microsoft started developing their own console, the Xbox. The result was a huge technological achievement, but the tech specs didn't mean much without good games to back them up. Well, Halo was an immediate hit for Microsoft, but otherwise Sony basically cornered the market on popular games that didn't star Italian plumbers. This included a certain racing franchise that had already sold 35 million copies.
I've got it. What if we stole their idea?
And that's exactly what Microsoft did. Forza Motorsport was announced in 2004 as the Xbox's answer to Gran Turismo, a highly customizable racing sim with real cars and real courses. Microsoft tapped Dan Greenawald to head the project. Now, he had previously worked as a designer for the arcade-style franchises Project Gotham Racing and Midtown Madness, and he was a real car enthusiast. But he actually got into cars through racing games, which was his first love. This guy was literally made to make a racing game. Early in the development process, Greenawalt came up with a mantra that became the mission statement for the whole Forza franchise. Turn gamers into car lovers, and car lovers into gamers. Now that's pretty similar to our mantra here at Donut. Turn donut lovers into car lovers, and car lovers into an indestructible army of undead. Greenawalt and his team of 24 programmers, designers, and other math people founded Turn 10 Studios, and they started Forza development with the all-important physics engine. They first created a highly realistic driving simulator that almost perfectly imitated real life. But like the Gran Turismo team before them, they realized that real life isn't fun. It's just you wake up, do some crap, you go to bed, you wake up, you do some crap, you go to bed. So they loosened up the physics. Gran Turismo had nailed its goal of becoming a chill version of the real-life driving simulator, so hard that it basically created a space for Forza to slot into. One notch more chill, and yet still several notches more realistic than any other racing game titles at the time. You couldn't throw any freaking turtle shells or anything in this game. Forza's ultra-flexible car customization options were a key ingredient to this. Players could create custom Photoshop-style visual layers for each section of your car, and each section could handle up to 100 design layers apiece. You could basically design your own livery, which had never been done before. If your lifelong dream was to drift around the Nürburgring in a Ferrari Enzo that says pubes on the side, Forza Motorsport is your game. Forza also let you go deep on car tuning, like all the way down to the tire pressure. Sure, the Forza title only had 231 cars compared to Gran Turismo 4's insane 721, but there were enough options that literally every person who ever played the game could create their own one-of-a-kind car. And let's be real, 231 cars is more than enough. Jay Leno. There were 33 different Miatas in Gran Turismo 4. 33! That's how old Jesus was when he died. That's one Miata for every year of Jesus' life. Now, let's be honest. Besides the custom livery thing, the first Forza Motorsport sounds a lot like Gran Turismo. Dan Greenawald and his team knew that they had to figure out a way to set their game apart. Now, here's something weird that you might not know. Part of the original plan was to make Forza into a car collecting game. Microsoft even hired a designer away from Pokemon to help establish that gotta catch 'em all feel. Every car and part in the game had a rarity rating based on the region that you select when you start the game. USA, Europe, or Asia. So for example, it's easy to get a Camaro if you're playing in the US, but good luck trying to find a Skyline GTR. Greenawalt and his team hoped that this would help build a virtual racing community by encouraging players to trade cars and parts. So that car collecting thing, it was different, but it really wasn't something that got people excited. Without something unique and exciting, Microsoft's big money Gran Turismo challenger was doomed to fail, and Bill Gates hates failure. Thankfully, Forza's saving grace was the most obvious oversight in Gran Turismo franchise. The biggest thing that called the game's tagline, the real driving simulator, into question. I'm talking about crash damage.
Crash damage.
Bop your Lister Jaguar into a wall at 200 miles per hour in Gran Turismo 4, what happens? You bounce back like it never happened. The car looks good as new. In Forza, the cars could get f***ed up, just like in real life. Paint scrapes, smashed windows, dangling bumpers, it all added another level of reality to Forza. If you did enough damage, your car's performance would start to suffer. Up until this point, Gran Turismo's cars would stay in basically perfect condition no matter how you drove them, which is really weird considering how tirelessly the GT team worked to make things very realistic. Maybe they couldn't afford to crash all these cars in real life to get the real physics data, which is obviously how Forza pulled it off. Bill Gates is really, really rich, you guys. He got a bunch of orphans to crash cars into walls and stuff. I've seen the footage. It's gruesome. Forza's realistic car damage was such a win that every Gran Turismo game afterwards has replicated the feature. They got their own orphans and they smashed them into walls. This wasn't the only realism one-up Forza had on Gran Turismo. Greenewalt and his crew gave Forza Motorsport the most realistic NPC AI yet, thanks to Xbox's advanced computing power. To do this, Microsoft brought in a robotics expert from elsewhere in the company, where robots fully replaced the human staff, I bet. This expert created an artificial intelligence system called Drivatar. Yep. It learned to mimic your racing style and even improve on it. Players could simulate races to see their own style in action, or race computer cars that would drive just like them, which for a lot of us is pretty embarrassing to watch. So we have full custom paint jobs, an active Pokemon influence, crash damage, and all that stuff set the OG Forza apart from Gran Turismo. Now there's one thing left that really made Forza Motorsport a standout: the ability to race people in parents' basements all around the world. Forza was developed to be played online via Xbox Live. Now, it's hard to believe today, but no Gran Turismo game at that point could be played on the internet. Xbox Live made it easy. It was arguably the biggest single thing that set the Xbox apart from the competition, and online racing was arguably the biggest single thing to set Forza apart from Gran Turismo. Suddenly, you could race anyone, anywhere, anytime. And you didn't even have to ask your mom if they could sleep over. I guarantee that if you walked into a college dorm in 2006, someone was in the process of losing Maple Valley Raceway to an 11-year-old in Japan. Online play is now an integral part of gaming. Forza was one of the very first games to embrace it. And when it was released in 2005, Forza Motorsport was universally praised. It sold 100,000 copies in the US in the first week. One reviewer called Forza the most realistic console racer ever made. But the OG Forza came out right at the end of the original Xbox's lifespan. Microsoft was already getting the more powerful Xbox 360 ready for release, so Greenewalt and the Turn 10 crew quickly shifted gears to turning out sequels. After the success of the first Forza game, Greenewalt's team grew massively, and they pumped out 3 sequels for the 360. Each one was well received, but the improvements over the original weren't exactly monumental. Because of this software slump, the franchise lagged well behind Gran Turismo in popularity. It wasn't until the 4th sequel, 2012's Forza Horizon, that Turn 10 Studios literally opened up the world of console games to a new horizon. Microsoft wasn't stoked on Forza's sequels lagging behind Gran Turismo. Greenewalt knew his team had to look at the game from a totally different angle if they wanted to keep making it. An easy way to do that is to bring in outside brains with different perspectives. So Turn 10 took pitches from other developers. A British company called Playground Games threw out a wild idea. Why not let gamers drive their cars everywhere? They liked it. Forza Horizon took everything gamers loved about the track-based series and put it in an open world where you get points for long drifts, huge jumps, street race victories, smashing through fences, cool stuff. The whole game was set around the fictitious Horizon Festival in the not fictitious Colorado, unless, is Colorado real? I don't know. Let's be clear. Forza Horizon wasn't the first open world driving game, but it stood out because it didn't compromise on the things that made Forza Motorsport games so great. Instead, it added more relaxed, varied, chaotic gameplay to the established Forza mix. Who plays the most video games? Teenage boys. What do teenage boys like? Chaos! Horizon was a hit. Eurogamer said Forza Horizon exchanges infinite laps and bottomless grind for an actual structure and sense of adventure. IGN said Forza Horizon and Playground Games have rewritten the rules of the road. I said, look what I painted on the side of my Ferrari Enzo, guys. It says pubes. Forza's Horizon series has now far outsold the original Forza Motorsport games. Forza Horizon 4 was the most popular game for the Xbox One, outselling Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, and Halo. Those games are massive. Before Gran Turismo came along, this sort of thing basically never happened with racing games. So hitting number 1 was a major milestone for Forza to reach. And in late 2021, Forza Horizon 5 had the biggest launch ever of any game on any Xbox system ever. 10 million players drove around the game's enormous open world version of Mexico in the week of its release. And in a way, Forza Horizon is a perfect execution of Dan Greenawalt's original goal to blend car culture and gaming culture. And with the massive success of the series, it makes sense that Microsoft would want to keep expanding the Forza franchise. And according to Greenawalt, I don't see how it's possible that the only thing Forza would be is Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon. It's gonna continue to grow, just as games have continued to grow. Thanks for watching this video and everything else on Donut Media. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Hit the like button, like I said. It really helps us out in the algorithm. You want to get some donut swag? Go to donutmedia.com. I'm really excited about our merch program. We're dropping new crap almost every week. We got posters now, dude. We got freaking Buff Horses shirt redesign. We got We Buy Junk Cars shirts. I love you.